The question you're asking yourself: why does it feel like they're pushing you away? You've noticed it, Haven and Oppos. To you? You come home, expecting that usual tail wag at the door, but instead, you find your dog tucked away in the back of a closet or squeezed into that dusty gap behind the sofa. Yeah, it's confusing. It's heartbreaking. And honestly, it makes you feel like you've done something wrong. But behind that behavior, something much deeper and much older is happening. You might think they're being distant, but in reality, they are communicating in the only way their DNA knows how. And if you keep treating this like a simple bad mood, you might be missing the most important conversation your dog has ever tried to have with you. Because by the time we get to the final point of this video, you and Oppos LL realize that their hiding might actually be their last, greatest gift to you. 2. The call of the ancestral den. The first thing we have to realize is that your dog ISN and Oppos T just hiding there returning to their roots. Think about it for a second. Long before they had a memory foam bed in your living room, their ancestors were wild animals. When a wild dog is sick or injured, they become a target. Most of us think they just want to be alone, and that makes complete sense from a human perspective. But biologically, they are seeking a den. A dark, enclosed space means only one way in and one way out. It's the only place they feel they can truly let their guard down. A study in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior, 2018, highlights how sickness behavior in canines often involves seeking confined spaces to reduce the energy spent on vigilance. They are in and Oppos T avoiding you. They are trying to find a place where they Don and Oppos T have to be on duty anymore. But that's only the first layer. Because what your dog does with their eyes while they are in that corner, that's where the real story begins. 3. Sensory overload and the mercy of darkness. You've probably noticed how your dog reacts to a thunderstorm or a loud vacuum. Now, imagine that feeling, but multiplied by 10 because their body is fighting a heavy illness. When a dog is seriously unwell, their nervous system becomes incredibly sensitive. Light feels sharper. Sounds feel louder. Even your gentle touch, which they usually crave, can feel overwhelming to a body in pain. Scientists like Dr. Gregory Burns have explored how canine brains process environmental stress, and the data suggests that darkness acts as a natural sedative. In that dark corner, the world slows down. The shadows hide the movement that their tired eyes can no longer track. They are seeking a sensory blackout, so their body can focus every ounce of energy on survival or peace. You've seen this. You've watched them blink slowly in the light before retreating to the shadows. And that same need for quiet explains something you see every single morning, but we'll get to that in a second. 4. The silent guard. Here's the thing that's hard to hear. Sometimes, your dog hides because they know you better than you know yourself. We often talk about dogs being our protectors, right? We think of them barking at the mailman or standing by the door. But protection ISN and Oppos T always about physical strength. In the social hierarchy of a pack, a weak member can attract unwanted attention to the group. There is a prevailing theory among animal behaviorists that dogs may retreat to avoid showing vulnerability to those they love. They spent their whole lives being your happy companion. When that strength fades, their instinct is to slip away quietly. It's a gentle warning that their role is changing. They aren't and Oppos T leaving you yet. They are trying to manage the emotional weight of their own decline. And honestly, that makes complete sense when you realize how much they mirror our own emotions. But wait, because there is one specific behavior they do right before they settle into that spot that most owners completely miss. 5. Energy conservation for the final hello. It's easy to look at a dog in a dark corner and think they've given up. But research on canine attachment suggests something far more touching. By retreating and staying still in a low-stimulation environment, your dog is practicing extreme energy conservation. They are shutting down the non-essentials. They aren't and Oppos T playing, they aren't and Oppos T begging for treats, and they aren't and Oppos T following you to the kitchen. They are saving every bit of strength they have left for the moments that matter, the moments when you sit down beside them. Most owners think the dog is being lazy or depressed, but they are actually being incredibly efficient. They are waiting. They are resting so that when you finally reach into that dark space to pet them, they have the strength to lift their head one more time. It's a tactical retreat, not a surrender. And that leads us to the moment I mentioned at the very beginning, the one thing most owners miss. 6. The watchful eye phenomenon. Remember what I said at the beginning? About the most important conversation they'll ever have? This is that moment. Have you ever noticed that even when your dog is in the darkest corner, their nose is always pointed toward the door? Or their ears twitch every time they hear your footstep? This is the watchful eye phenomenon. Even in their most vulnerable state, even when they are seeking the dark, they are still tethered to you. A study in Applied Animal Behavior Science, 2020, found that even terminally ill dogs maintain a monitoring behavior toward their primary caregiver. They aren't and oppose, hiding to be away from you. They are hiding to be at peace while still knowing where you are. They are balancing two worlds, the internal world of their fading strength and the external world where you are the center of their universe. It's the ultimate act of love, choosing a place of personal comfort that still allows them to keep a phantom limb extended toward you. 7. Closing the bond in the shadows. There's a good chance that right now, as you're watching this, your dog is somewhere in the room, perhaps watching you, or perhaps already seeking that quiet corner. If you went looking for answers today because you felt rejected by their silence, I want you to take a breath. They aren't and oppose, leaving you behind. They are just stepping into the shadows to find the strength to stay a little longer. We started this video asking why they seek the dark, and the answer isn't and oppose, just about biology or ancestors. It's about trust. They trust that even if they aren't and oppose, right at your feet, you are still there. If this video made you want to go find your dog right now, maybe just to sit quietly near their hiding spot without saying a word, that's exactly the point. Subscribe, because your pet deserves an owner who understands them this deeply. I've got more videos on the screen about how dogs communicate their final wishes. I think your dog would want you to watch them.